Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the True Life Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Truex. You call me JT, and I'm excited about this morning's topic. This is the time of year when people are looking to make a change in their life. It's a fresh start. Now, I know there are those people out there who are going, you make your New Year's resolutions every day. And I do work on making changes every day, and I think everybody should. But I got to tell you something. When you have a group effort, a mass effort to do something, if it's a good thing, you should capitalize on that momentum. We all need momentum in our lives. And there's nothing wrong with New Year's resolutions. This is a wonderful time of year. Your heart's more tender. People are more tender. It's a great time for change, So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the word disassociation. Now, I know some people that, they pick out a word for the year, and I kind of do. And I'm telling you what, if you're looking for a great word for the year and you're trying to move your life forward, this is your word. Disassociation is a great word for moving forward in the new year. So, what exactly is disassociation? Disassociation is the disconnection or complete separation of one thing from another. Now we've all heard of there's good types and bad types of disassociations. We're frequently told stories, or we hear things about how he was completely disassociated from his family. He was in the living room watching TV, but he was really someplace else, or she was someplace else. Her heart was no longer with him. She was completely disassociated from her husband. And that's a bad type of disassociation. And if you have that in your life, you obviously need to address it. But I'm here today to talk to you more about the good types of disassociation, okay? We've all heard funny stories too, right? You've heard of, you've seen that sign with a little stick figure guy, and it says, "Hey, I've gone to look for myself. If I happen to come back while I'm gone, would you ask me to wait?" So there's always funny sides of it. There's funny sides of everything, right? But there's a serious side of it too. Seneca, the great philosopher, said that disassociation is the mind's ability to be unconquerable. A great example of that would have been Viktor Frankl, psychologist, psychotherapist, I believe, and he spent 3 years in 4 different Nazi concentration camps. He wrote a book that has stewarded thousands of, maybe millions of people through their lives, called Man's Search for Meaning. He refused while in those camps, and he developed a type of therapy. Not to be punny, but I am. So he didn't choose to concentrate on the things or the future that they had for him, and instead he searched for his own meaning in the situation. Okay, so disassociation can be a good thing, and this is very personal to me. I mean, I've had some situations with disassociation. I've had some bad stints myself. I've checked out. I think we've all checked out sometimes. But if you're going to move forward, you have to actively keep coming back and disassociate from the wrong things. And there's a certain way to do this, and I'm going to share some of that with you right now. So disassociation, when used properly, is a super powerful tool. So look, I look at this is my philosophy, okay, and this is the philosophical side of this podcast. I look at it first, there's 3 types of a good disassociation, okay, if you will. And I guess these could be flipped on the other side too, and they could be a negative disassociation. But let's talk about it in a positive way, okay? The first way of disassociation that, is practice, I believe, is physical disassociation. You can technically leave an area. You can stop going to a place, or you can leave a person. There's physical disassociation, okay? Well, then there's mental disassociation. And we talked a little bit about that briefly in the opening, where, someone checks out from something or someone, okay? And this can go both ways as well. You can disassociate from the right things, or you can disassociate from the wrong things. Then the third type of disassociation that I see, and maybe one of the more powerful types, is spiritual. there's a great spiritual disassociation in our country right now. And I'm not saying that everybody has to have the exact same beliefs that I practice, or that ground me in my life and my faith, but you have to have faith in something. And to disconnect yourself from the eternal is a mistake, because we are all eternal beings. This is how you find your meaning in life. What is it? What's the difference that you're supposed to be affecting into this world? And if you're disassociated from the spiritual, you're not going to find much satisfaction in the things that you do, and you're not going to find eternal meaning, or eternal satisfaction in your life. So there's those types of disassociations. Okay, now if you want to have a great new year, here's what I want to challenge you to do. I want to challenge you to put in place in your life 3 disassociations. Okay, 3 disassociations. Now this is going to make a big difference, because you've all heard that saying, I'm sure. We are the product of the 5 people we're closest to. Think about your last 90 days. Who have you been around? Are you talking to people that lift you up? Are you talking to people that put you down? Are you going to places where you waste your money? Or are you going to places where you learn about money? Are you associating with ideas, reading books, watching podcasts, things that empower you? Or are you just mindlessly wasting your time on the internet? And look, everybody needs downtime, but you need uptime too. Okay, so let's talk about these 3 things that you can change your life and go forward in your life, if that's what you want to do in 2024. And listen, here at True Life Blueprint, I want to share it with you. Okay, one of the biggest ways that I'm able to counsel people, and I'm able to coach and help people, and try to affect a change on people's lives, is that I've been in your shoes. I have made every mistake under the sun. I did it. I have made relationship mistakes. I have made financial mistakes. I've made business mistakes. And I'm not here putting myself up as, hey, I'm the great, healer, divider, leader, whatever you want to put. I am a man, and I know how damn tough it is in this world these days to be a good man or a good woman. And even when you're at your best, sometimes you feel like someone is kicking you. You feel like, life has knocked you down. I saw this meme the other day, this little reel, it showed this trash can floating down the street, tumbling over and over again, and it was like, the last 3 months, and then me, right? That's how we all feel sometimes, okay? So I felt that way. So when you're watching this podcast, and I'm trying to share some things with you to help, understand I'm not coming from a place of being on a high horse. I truly love people. I truly want to help people. I felt this calling on my life as 10 years old, and I literally just have since then tried my best. Have I failed? Absolutely. I've had lots and lots of failures. And you know what I have come to embrace at 50 years old? And I'm sorry to tell you, it took me 50 years to do this, but I come to embrace the fact that those failures and those dark times in my life, they were the best. I'm telling you, they were the best. Look, your grass don't grow if it doesn't get some rain. How beautiful is a storm? I love to sit on the back porch and watch the lightning, but I'm not going to run out in the storm with a metal pole, right? But I used to, not literally, philosophically speaking, okay? But you have to embrace this idea that there's going to be challenges. And so when I bring you information here, not only have I read and researched, I've lived it, and I have a degree in this type of thing, and I'm not here to be on a pedestal. I truly love people, and I want to help you out. So look, enough about that. Okay, let's talk about how to affect a change in your life through proper disassociation in the upcoming year, and hopefully the rest of your life. And by the way, if you do this, if you do these things, when the dark times come, you'll be ready to hit the road running. I can tell you from personal experience that when you practice maturity, integrity, and you honor your word, and you keep giving through those bad times, when they come, the next time, you'll be ready to hit the ground running, and you'll be ready to rock. Okay, you'll be ready to move on with your life. So let's talk about three types of disassociation. Look, the first type of disassociation is so simple. It's just places. It's just places, right? Look, it's cliche to say, are you dropping your paycheck at the bar on Friday night? The world's changed since I was younger. When I was younger, I remember growing up in the 80s. Yeah, I know that was like so damn long ago for you young people, right? But look, when I was growing up in the 80s, the common problem was that, many men would go to the bar on Friday night, drop their paycheck, and they would not, would have money for the bills. So, they come home and have problems with their family. Well, look, that doesn't seem to be the problem as much these days, but there are lots and lots of other problems out there, and you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to go into all those, but people are still losing their checks at certain places, and people are hanging out at the wrong things. It could be as simple as working with someone that's so negative that you can't stand it. Can I give you some advice? This next 60 seconds might be some of the best advice I'll ever give anybody, okay? And I learned this from personal experience. Freaking run. Freaking run away from the things that cause you to fall down. When you want to do something better in your life, you've got to disassociate with negativity. You have to deal with it head on. And you can control some things. You can control where you physically go. You can control where you work. Jeremy, are you saying quit my job? Maybe. I can tell you right now, I have walked right out of buildings that brought me down and never looked back. And I'm not ashamed to tell you that. Look, you're here for, if you're lucky, 60, 70, 80 years, and you don't need to spend your entire dang life, slaving away in some negative hellhole where you hate being. Get the heck out of there. You'll survive. I promise you. I saw Alex Hormozy talking to a guy on a podcast the other day, and the guy asked Alex, he says, hey man, I've lost several relatives. I have one that's dying now. My girlfriend left me. I took a hit on my business. So my question for you is, how do I stand all this? And Alex looked right at the guy and he says, you're standing right now, bro. And the guy kind of looked dumbfounded. And Alex said, yeah. He said, you're standing right here in front of me right now. The question is, what did you get out of it? So you're going to go through bad things. So if you have to leave a job, if you have to leave a relationship, and we'll be very clear when I say leave a relationship, I'm not encouraging divorce or separation. In that situation, you probably need to seek professional counseling and deal head on if you have an extremely negative spouse. And by the way, if you have an extremely negative spouse, you want to deal with yourself first. What are you doing? That's a great separator in life is, asking yourself, what am I doing to affect this situation? And if you practice these things right here, you may find that you have a much more positive spouse than you did before. So you don't have to pack up and leave a person, but you do need to ask yourself, what the heck? And then how do I approach this? Do I get some counseling? What do I do? Okay. So the first thing is places, physical places. Don't be at the places that cause you to have, the feeling. You have that pit in your stomach if it's negativity you're fighting, or your paycheck's flying out the window because you're there, or you're doing things with people that you're not supposed to while you're in that place. Disassociate with the wrong places. The next thing is disassociate from people. I was talking to my father this morning, and I was telling him how I remember growing up, and the mentors I had, pastors, teachers, friends, would talk about, hey, when you're the life of the party and you're footing the bill and you're doing this and you're doing that, everybody loves you, but wait till you need something and you can't foot the bill and you're not the life anymore, and they'll be gone. And I remember scoffing at that advice. And I remember just like flat out saying, that's just bullshit. That's bullshit. My friends will be here. Everybody will always be here. But you know what I've learned as I've gotten older? Those people that suck the life out of you, that you support physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, when you don't give anymore, they're probably going to be gone. And there's a way to handle that. And there's a way to handle the ones that keep coming around trying to, see if there's like that damn mosquito in the tent at night, that one that just won't go away, trying to suck the blood out of you. There's a way to handle those things, okay? Sometimes you just got to swat that situation, and you had to disassociate. I have, by no stretch of the imagination, am I telling you to never care for a person? But some people, you've got to put your hand out, and you simply got to pray for them, and you got to keep them out of arm's length, because that you can't let your life go down the toilet because they want to flush it. Okay, you have to be responsible for your life, and ultimately one of the biggest lessons that I've always known, but especially recently put into practice more than ever, is personal responsibility. There's some people in your life you do need to reassociate with and go back, and make sure you're doing the right thing. And if there's a lot of people in your life, I'm sure, that bring you down, that you don't want to go around. Look, back to the places thing. If you're at a job and you got a negative person, can you switch departments? Or do you have to leave there? But whatever it is you have to do, you have to get negative people out of your life. You have to get the people out of your life that kill your dreams. Okay? Look, I've had these people all my damn life. I was born for more. I'll tell you that right now. And you just watch. We're headed out right now on a great mission for the rest of my days to help as many people as we can. And you know what my biggest message is going to be? You can and you must. And you should. You can, you should, you must. Because that is the story of your life. What the hell are you doing with yourself if you're not moving forward and you're not doing the things you can do? What if you're not growing to a new level every year, and you're not chasing your dreams, and you're not doing all the things that you have in your heart, those things that set you on fire, then why in the hell are you living? I'm not encouraging the opposite, okay? But what I'm saying is, you have a what I believe is a God-given purpose, or a higher calling in your life to do more. Now I'm not saying physical jobs, whatever you do, is a bad thing, but what I'm saying is, you as an individual are not your job. You are not your money. You are not your bank account, and it's your job to protect you first. Now, I don't mean this in a greedy way. I don't mean you got to get all the money out there and keep it for yourself, or you don't share with your family or whatever. I have shared and shared till it hurts. And you know what? Whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm here today. I'm still fat. I'm still fluffy. I'm still happy. Okay. But you have to take care of you first, in the sense of your well-being and your goals and your dreams. I've had so many people tell me, I've worked for myself all my life. I've had very few jobs in my life. I've had a few, but I've had very few. And I was fortunate. I've worked with some good people, and I've worked building some good companies where I wasn't the owner, or I was an entrepreneur, or chief executive officer, whatever. And I'll tell you right now, I appreciate those. But I've worked for myself. And do you know how many times people would see me, and maybe I was a little down on my luck, or I'm working on building something up, and oh man, why don't you just get a job? Why don't you just get a job? Why don't you just settle? Why don't you just settle? You know what? To me, settle is a freaking 4-letter word. You don't want to hear 4-letter words on my podcast, and don't say the word settle, because that's BS right there. Don't settle for the wrong mate. Don't settle for the wrong job. Don't settle for the wrong, hobbies in your life. Don't settle for the wrong environment. You have to disassociate from the bad things, okay? Now, I could go on and on and on right there. But listen, lastly, you have to disassociate from the wrong ideas. Okay, this is a mental thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, the battle of life, the success in life, it's not in money. It's not in all those things, man. I've had and blown money. We're people that are very blessed. But I can tell you right now, it's not in the money. It's not in being the life of the party. That's not where you win this battle, or you win the battle of life inside of this big old melon right here. Okay, that's where all the battles are. And I'm right. You're driving down the road. headed to work and you're battling yourself. Do I really want to be here? What do I got to do? And when I get home tonight, what's going to happen when this happens? And you're talking to yourself. Now I do hear that there are some people that don't have an inner monologue, and I believe I've met a lot of those, usually at places where I got bad service. But hey, anyway, I'm just playing. But I'm telling you, we all have an inner monologue, and you know what's going on. This is the battleground. This right up here, this is your Gettysburg. This is where you have to have a way to dig into the trenches, cut new trenches in your brain, fortify the good things, and run out the bad things, the bad ideas. How do you do this? Well, the first thing is you got to disassociate with negative things. I had an idea reinforced yesterday. I was listening to the Mel Robbins podcast, and she was talking about not watching the news, and she was talking about a study that she saw where people that watch like just 1 minute of news in the morning could have 5 to 6 negative hours. It didn't take a rocket scientist to tell me this, and didn't take a rocket scientist to tell Mel. She was just enforcing her point. But I will tell you right now, a decade or so ago, I was I look at a bunch of different news outlets, but let's put it this way: I was looking at news outlets from morning to noon, morning to night, whatever I had a chance. I remember at one point 20 years ago, I built a sunroom on my house for the purpose of putting a TV and a desk in there so that I could watch the news while I worked. Was I more informed? No. Was I more anxious? Yeah. I was, I just, this is happening or that. This president's going to be the end of the world. That one's going to be the end of the world. Listen, that's a bunch of bullshit. And you need to disassociate from the news. You need to disassociate from gossip. You need to disassociate from any thoughts that are negative. And you start that disassociation by looking at what's coming from the outside in. What are you reading? What are you looking at? Do you look at your phone all day and scroll social media for the purpose of checking out? I love social media. Y'all, if you know me, I do. I'm known for being on Facebook. I'm known for being on these things. But, the idea that you sit there and mindlessly drone through it is not a good thing. If you're going to be on there, yeah, enjoy some downtime. But hey, what do you got on your social media that's positive? Who's bringing you a message? I mean, we're going to do it, but who else is? Where are you spending your time there? You have to disassociate from bad ideas, okay? Disassociate from negative things, no matter what the source is. I'm speaking specifically of what's going through your eyes, what's going through your ears, into your brain, okay? So let's talk about that. That's my philosophical side of that. Let's talk about the spiritual, or not the spiritual, but let's talk about the tactical side of this, okay? I learned something when I was COO of an internet service provider. It was an interesting job because I come from a more physical background initially. My father was a 50-year truck driver, veteran truck driver. He only quit driving a truck because he couldn't drive a truck anymore. He used to tell me all the time, "Hey son, I love trucking so much I'd die behind the wheel." And I'm like, "Dad, that might be your goal, but what about the other people on the road? Let's not go there, brother." So it's honestly, let's not do that, right? But that was my background. I owned a transportation company. I own a construction company. I have these physical things. So I was recruited after an accident that I had into an internet service provider company because of the leadership and people skills I had developed over the years, my ability to negotiate and put out fires. So it was the run of my life. It's one of the best 5 years ever. I absolutely loved it. We took a company, making less than 7 figures and took it into the high 7 figures, almost 8. Man, it was just powerful, great learning experience, awesome stuff. But here's one of the lessons I learned there. You have an IP address on your internet. You got two kinds. You have a static, you have a fixed, okay? A static IP is something that moves, you bounces, and most people have that. But, if you need to have a secure connection all the time, you might have to get a fixed IP address, okay? So, life is kind of like that, nothing in life is really fixed. It's static. You cannot disassociate without adding something back in there. In other words, let's say you're on the internet right now and you're on your phone and you're on your router and it's going through one thing, going through one IP. Well, when you quit using it, that IP's gone. You come back in and jump on it, you get another one. Okay, you don't even know this is going on. You have no clue. You have no clue that you're sending something out through different addresses and different things. And that's why you ever look at your phone and it says you're in New York and you're like, what the heck was that about? Well, it's just an IP address that's registered someplace else. Okay, so listen, your mind is just like that. Your mind is going to register someplace else if you don't make it a fixed option for you to have positive input. Okay, so you have to take control of that. So let's talk about that. How do you implement tactically these ideas? Okay, the first thing you have to do, and this is just my personal, I think this is what worked for me, and I'd recommend you try it. The first thing you have to do is you have to learn to snap your fingers and snap your mind. You have to learn to arrest the negative thoughts that come in. I mean, how many times you went through the day and been like, damn, I wish I could do that. Man, I wish I had one of those. Or, I don't know if I could even make this happen. You have negative self-talk, or you start thinking about your dreams and you're kind of like, well, I'm 50. I don't want to be 70 when just don't talk to yourself that way. You have to learn that when a negative thought enters your mind, you have to be like the thought police of yourself. Don't let someone else be your thought police. You be it yourself. So when you're riding down the road or you're talking to yourself and you're like, hey, man, I really wish I could have my own business. No. Snap your fingers. You say, man, I wonder how I could start my own business. Oh my gosh, that guy looks so good. I wish I had 6-pack abs like that. No. Man, that guy really takes care of himself. I ought to ask him where he works out so I could learn how to get those 6-pack abs. Holy cow, did you see all the money those people must be making? Oh my gosh, I could use some more money in my life. No. Snap out of it. Oh wow, that guy must have got some wealth wisdom somewhere. I wonder if I could introduce myself to him or somebody like him and I could get him to be my mentor so I could learn some more. That's the first. It's the first places. It's in your mind. And I'm going to tell you a great truth. You know all this whole. Some people call it hocus pocus, but they call it the law of attraction, right? Your mind's a powerful thing. But let me make the law of attraction real simple for you, okay? Whatever the hell you think about is what you get in your life. Period. This is. I actually am writing a lesson for another podcast, and I'll share a brief synopsis of this. It's basically the law of repetition. In a negative way, whatever you focus on, you're going to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. If your life is negative right now and all you do is think about negative, so ask yourself, if your life is negative, are you thinking just about negative? You guess what? You're going to keep right on going through it. It's going to keep right on coming to you. It ain't going nowhere. It's going to be your best friend, although it's not your best friend. What you have to do is you have to learn to arrest those negative thoughts. I've had people tell me, hey man, how in the heck do you keep on going? How have you been so positive? You're always, you're always motivated. You always got to, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I mean, I think I'm pretty upwardly mobile, but let me tell you something. Personally, I have down times. I have to practice the things that I preach. I have to say, hold on, time out, Jeremy. You're worth so much more than that. I do a lot of this one. Oh, Jeremy, you made a mistake. You have to apologize to that person. You got to go work your ass off to fix that. Oh man, you know what? There's that person, that thinks that I'm this person in the past. You know what? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I made mistakes in the past. They're not going to hold me to that. No, I'm a new man. I'm a new man every minute. I'm a new man every day. And you can be a new man or new woman right now too. And it starts in your head. It starts right there. That's why I named this the True Life Blueprint. Number one, I got a lot of experience that I've been so fortunate, such a rich life that I could share. But the other thing is I've had, been so blessed. I had so many great mentors. I had one of my mentors was a PhD, and, I worked for him for years and we were close. And, I didn't even know the crap I was learning while I worked for him until I was going and talking about something and going, man, I know where that came from. So I was fortunate to get around good people. But the other reason, it's a True Life Blueprint. You know why it's a True Life Blueprint? Because I want to help you where you're at. I want, you go to an architect, you got a piece of ground, you're like, I need a house. I'll help be the architect okay? I'll help you figure out the plans, but you got the ground. We start where you are. We start by listening to you. You've got to start at the same place. You got to start by listening to what you're thinking about, listening to what you're saying to yourself, listen to what you're putting into your mind, and you've got to get those daggone things straightened out. You've got to learn. There's a good type of snap judgment. So when someone tells you, man, don't make a snap judgment, bullshit. Just make the right type of snap judgment. You know what, man? I don't think I'm stuck at this job the rest of my life. Hell no. I'm gonna start my own business. We can help you do that too. In fact, I'm gonna bring some people on my staff at the beginning of the year if you're looking to be an entrepreneur. Hey, I don't have enough money. Wonder how I could get more money. How could I get more money? Learn to like I said on one of my lessons from mentors briefs last night. Learn to think in ink. When you get negative, you get down, you got bad things on your mind. Learn to get a piece of paper out, a pen. Write down 20 solutions. Don't write down all the problems. Write down, what's the problem in my life? My love life ain't the best. My financial life ain't the best. What's 20 solutions? They're inside you. I promise. I promise. Just start and don't let yourself lock yourself in a room and let yourself go. Okay. And then lastly, I want to completely just encourage you. If you are disassociated from the wrong things, if you're disassociated from a spouse, if you're disassociated from a good job, good people, a good church, a good mentor, it's time to get back engaged. It is time to really be daily, hourly engaged in the right things, and one of the best ways to engage in the right things is to disassociate from the wrong things so that you have that space in your schedule, your heart and your mind to be able to engage the best things. Listen, I just want to help people here. And if you are in a situation, I'm going to be offering some free coaching spots for business and life. If you're interested, email bookjtnow@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to help you. I'll be glad to listen. I want to know what's going on out there in your world. I mean, I already know. I know people are already fighting the things that they're fighting like I fought, because we all have the same human condition. We all make mistakes. We all have sin. We all have problems. We all want love. We all want acceptance. We all want, comfort and security. Okay. And I know another thing. You don't get it on your own. I can tell you that I had a long phone call with a mentor yesterday. I got phone calls, at least 5, I think, scheduled over the next 7 days before Christmas. Literally, just to I'm not going to go it alone. And you don't have to either, okay? So if you need to, reach out and let's get a blueprint together to help you have a better life, a better relationship, and just to get your mind right and get started. Let's get some peace in your life. I will tell you something. You never know what peace is until you experience it. I mean, one of the things I can tell you is that in my heart and my mind, for one of the longest periods of time in my entire life, I have peace. I have peace because I'm in the right physical place, I'm in the right mental place, and I'm in the right calling. So if I can help, let me know. Remember, practice good disassociation. God bless.